Okay. So, you know that I am super passionate. Obsessed with talking about the beauty of no longer being a workaholic and actually changing your life so that you can have freedom. But I realized that I hadn't really taken the time to talk about the terrifying part of no longer being a workaholic. And I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you just how scary it could be. So I'm sure you're asking, well, wait, what do you mean the terrifying part of no longer being a workaholic? Well, it's the part that will pull you back in, that will drag you by your feet and say, you can never stop being a workaholic. If you don't prepare for the shame, for the guilt, for this feeling that wants to pull you back in every time you try to stop. Everything in your body that tells you, no, working is my identity. If I wasn't working, what would I be doing? If I'm not working, am I being lazy? All of those things are the part that will pull you back in if you're not prepared for it. Don't let it drag you back in. While I've made plenty of videos now about no longer being a workaholic, I really wanted to pause in this video and talk about what is the alternative to being a workaholic? What transformation, what life change are we creating when we stop being a workaholic? Because if we're not careful, workaholism can pull us back in. If you don't have somewhere to redirect that energy, it will just default back to the workaholism that we have lived so far. So instead of being a workaholic, the alternative that I have found is creating a soft life where instead of defining my life by what I do, I actually get to live my life by who I am, by who I was created to be, and giving that away, knowing that all abundance, all feminine energy, all freedom flows from showing up and just being exactly who I'm created to be day in and day out for every person that I meet. I knew that I didn't want to be a workaholic, but I really didn't know what the alternative looked like. I really just thought that working hard was going to get me to the point where I could thrive. The thing is, most people aren't talking about the alternative to hustle culture, to toxic productivity, to workaholism until today. I want to talk about it today because working hard is not the true way for you to create a life that you love. Continuing to work hard is the pathway to burnout, to lack of freedom, to lack of energy, to lack of really getting to be exactly who you are because you're always trying to prove yourself to someone else. But the alternative is to create a soft life. And while that may seem unattainable because of all the different myths and misunderstandings that come with the idea of creating a soft life, it's actually exactly what you need to leave workaholism behind and find the life that you actually deserve. This life of peace of mind where you don't have to be on all the time. So what exactly is a soft life? Well, I feel like soft life has gotten a bad rep because we're seeing more depictions of it where it's all about luxury and having tons of money. And really, it makes it unattainable to anybody that's not a millionaire, that they can live a life where they don't have to be on all the time, where they don't have to armor up to go to work, where they don't have to protect their dreams or their vulnerabilities to every single person that they meet. I actually believe that creating a soft life is more about allowing yourself to get out of this habit of doing and proving yourself, and more about settling into being and allowing who you are to define the life that you want to live and the way that you live it. So here are 3 things that I believe a soft life encompasses. Number 1, the transition from being a workaholic to living a soft life starts with redefining our identity. I don't know about you guys, but for the whole time that I've been a workaholic, work was the goal. Work was the end game. It was what I was trying to achieve. It was the mechanism I used to prove my worth, to accomplish anything. I was so busy trying to do those things that I really didn't get to enjoy them when I finally did them. That it was anticlimactic because I had worked so hard that I didn't have the space to truly enjoy it. And that's why so many of those things I will take the time to do again. But now this time around, my identity redefined. For example, as a kid, I wanted wanted to live in many places, and I have lived in 30 different places around the world. And while I have that on my resume of some of the amazing things that I've gotten to do in my life, it would have been different had I been able to enjoy and take in all of those amazing moments that I had when I lived them the first time, rather than reflecting on them and then starting to be able to realize just how amazing my life has been. When we get into the habit of workaholism, we get into the habit of just moving on to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. We never take a second to really stop and celebrate the wins and the small things that have been progress on this journey. And that's a shame, but we can change that if we create our soft life. We're now redefining, instead of the goal being to hurry up and achieve, now the goal is to enjoy every step on the journey, so that today I am still a success. I am still confident in who I am. I'm still blessed in this moment, regardless of how far that I go. And that doesn't mean that I don't aspire to go far. It just means that I can enjoy today just as much as I can enjoy when I accomplish it in the future. So the second way that I define living a soft life is by creating personal boundaries, meaning that there's so many posts and content out there talking about how we have to protect our boundaries or uphold our boundaries against different people who don't like when we change or implement a boundary. But just as much as other people don't like when we implement a boundary, we have just as hard of a time with ourselves implementing a boundary. So if I tell myself, I'm going to stop working at 5 o'clock, especially for workaholics, we're the one that's like, okay, I just need 5 more minutes. I'm just going to finish this last project. I'm just going to do this last thing. There was nobody outside of us breaking that boundary. It was us. It was us choosing to break that boundary. So in this endeavor to create my soft life for myself, I'm starting with boundaries for myself to say, when I say I'm going to stop and I'm not going to do this anymore, I actually stop. And even sometimes when I've scheduled a longer time and my body, my energy has told me, hey child, you need to go sit down, then I actually stop and listen to it. It's the shift in prioritizing work to actually prioritizing me and listening to my body and what I need, what my soul needs, and creating that peace of mind and choosing peace of mind so that I can actually ditch this workaholic mindset and live the soft life that I deserve. So then the third way that I define living my soft life is by choosing to live my life based on my values rather than money, and making space for me to live my authentic self all day and always. We have the opportunity to step out of what a job wants to define our whole being to be and actually choose a life where I get to be my authentic self and give that away to the people that I get to meet, because I know that when I do that, I am impacting them for the better. I'm making the world better, and I'm getting to be my full authentic self. And that's great for everybody. So when I think about living my soft life, it's about getting to show up in that way all day and all the things that I do. And while some of those things that I like to do are getting my nails done and all of those things aren't a definition of me either. I can be my authentic self without those things. It's so much more simple than that. It's more about knowing who I am, how I want to show up in the world, what I want to give away, and making sure that every time I step in the room, that I am being that I am living by my values, that I'm giving away my passion, that I'm letting my full light shine and encouraging others to let their light shine as well, so we can all shine together. I have 2 values that I live by, because anything more than 2 values, I'm just going to tell you, you're doing too much. And you probably haven't taken the time to really stop and think about, what does it mean to live those values? And so with just 2 values, I get to carve out what that means to me and what I want that to look like in my daily life. So my first value is communication. And the way that I live that out is that I choose to have hard conversations. I choose to go deep and share about my personal life, my vulnerabilities, my dreams, not because it's a badge of honor, but because it's allowing other people to get to know me. Also, by making space for others to communicate and share their perspectives as well. We all have different beliefs, and rather than downing someone else's beliefs, I believe that when when I make space to listen to other people's beliefs and share mine, we make something even more beautiful than we can ever make on my own. So that's how I live by my value of communication. And so my second value is to dream. And I live that out by seeing the potential in the world. When someone tells me just a little inkling of an idea, I swear I get more excited about their dream than they're getting excited about their own dream. But it's this wonder that I have that it's like telling me about your aspirations, your dreams, your ideas are allowing a firework to explode, and I get to enjoy the beauty of that. And so I live my second value of being a dreamer by seeing the potential in the world, by seeing potential in myself and seeing potential in others, and then giving all of that potential the space and opportunity to grow. Both of those values are values that I use constantly in my business. And there's so much of what I get excited about helping people create this soft life, because we get to tear down every single box and create something that's specific and unique to you based on your values, what you live out, and all of that. Back to what I was saying about creating our soft life. As you can see, I get excited about the idea of living a soft life, not because of the fake ideas that people put out here about living a life of luxury and being a millionaire and all of those things. That's not it. To me, living a soft life is about the opportunity to be my authentic self, to step away from proving myself, to live a life where it's not about doing, where instead it's about being. And that is the soft life that I want to live, regardless of whether I have millions of dollars or whether I have $10. That's who I want to show up and be day in and day out. Okay, so let's recap. While I have made plenty of videos now about no longer being a workaholic, I really wanted to talk about what is the alternative to being a workaholic? What transformation, what life change are we creating when we stop being a workaholic? Because if we're not careful, workaholism can pull us back in. It's the terrifying part of no longer being a workaholic, is that if you don't have somewhere to redirect that energy, it will just default back to the workaholism that we have lived so far. So instead of being a workaholic, the alternative that I have found is creating a soft life where instead of defining my life by what I do, I get to live my life by who I am, by who I was created to be, and giving that away, knowing that all abundance, all feminine energy, all freedom flows from showing up and just being exactly who I'm created to be day in and day out for every person that I meet. Why do I believe that being is the best way? Because working didn't work for me. Working was killing me. It was literally raising my blood pressure. It was giving me heart palpitations. It was stressing me out. And instead of work being this pathway to more freedom, it was actually the pathway to death. And I decided that wasn't for me. So then if I didn't want this pathway to death, what did I actually want? I wanted a life that I could show up and enjoy my life. None of us were put on this earth to be in peril all the time. Instead, we were created to be on this earth to give away our unique mixture of things that we were created to be, so that together, all of us could complement each other and make this world an amazing place for all of us. So I know I'm a bit of an idealist, but that's what gets me up in the morning, is believing that when I live the life that I was created to live and empower others to live the lives that they were created to live, that we together make this world a better place. And that's the life that all of us should get to live. So hey, I'm Rashida, a recovering workaholic and your dream strategist. I help workaholics go from workaholism to creating a soft life, because your job does not define you. It should not be your identity. And you deserve a life that's more than being a workhorse for corporate America, hustle culture, workaholism, and toxic productivity. You're so much more than that. So if that sounds good to you, I would love for you to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're new here, make sure you check out my channel trailer so I can share with you my 5-step framework that I take my clients through to go from being a workaholic to creating a soft life. Thank you so much for watching today. Have a good day.